June marks Scoliosis Awareness Month. We are focusing on early detection and how you can spot it to help avoid more invasive treatment. And joining us today is Caroline Bell, an advocate and author. Good morning to you, Caroline.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. So let's just first off tackle, what is scoliosis?
Sure. So scoliosis is a three-dimensional rotation of the spine. So it bends and curves side by side, but it can also bend forward and rotate on itself. So it can be quite painful, and you'll see these two little models are set up to show different curve types. So you can have one curve, two, one that goes through the middle. Some even have three curve types, and it's very unique for every single case.
I think I see it even more behind here, the curvature, and that's what causes the pain, the discomfort. Normally it should be straight up and down.
Normally this should be a straight up and down spine. It shouldn't be to the side like this.
It's like a curved track, like winding, if you will.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what's your relationship to scoliosis?
So I have scoliosis. I wore a back brace for a little bit, and I ended up, my curves progressed to the point that surgery had to intervene. So I have metal rods and screws in my spine called spinal fusion surgery. Now, not all cases progress to the need for surgery, but scoliosis in general affects about 2 to 5% of teens around the world. It is global. And it generally, the most common type is adolescent idiopathic scoliosis, which means it develops during adolescence between 10 to 15 years old at a high period of growth. And it also affects girls about 5 times more than boys.
You did, I guess, a study, if you will, a compilation of people with scoliosis, and you wrote a book about it. What did you learn?
I learned so much. I learned that there's still so much to learn. So a couple years ago, I got really upset at how little information was still available out there for me as an adult with scoliosis, and for new parents with children being diagnosed with scoliosis. So I set out to put together everything that we know to date, so this book can be handed to a new family and get rid of so much fear and unknown of scoliosis.
Okay, so what are we looking at for in terms of early detection? What do you, how do you do that?
Early detection is so important, and that's what we're focusing on today. So the simple signs to look out for are slanted shoulders, maybe one rib cage larger than the other, a gap between the hip and the arm. So anything that would indicate asymmetry in the spine that's kind of skewing the rest of the body. And it's important to note that there has been no school screening for scoliosis in Canada since the 80s, and it's actually not mandated for MDs to screen children anymore. So super important for parents to keep an eye at this at home, especially if it's already in the family tree, and especially in the summer when it's short season and swimsuit season and you can see your kids a lot more.
Okay, we're going to bring in Melissa because you have a way of screening for scoliosis,
yes,
right?
indeed. It's a quick little test for our lovely assistant. So just before we get into it, if you want to see this, it's called a scoliometer, and it's kind of like a level that you would have in your house. There's a little ball that moves in the middle.
Okay.
And this looks for rotation in the spine. So this does not diagnose for scoliosis, but it's another clue finder that there might be asymmetry.
Okay.
So Melissa, if you'd hands and feet together and just bend forward a little bit. There we go. So I'm going to run this right up Melissa's spine, and I'll just look for the little ball if it moves on either side. Yeah,
quite a bit.
There we go. So if we can see that here, I'll go down the other way. You can see.
I know that Adam can't really get in behind you there, but I can attest that it is certainly moving quite a bit to one end to the other.
And I have been told by several different practitioners over my life that I do have a mild form of scoliosis, but it was always just kind of brushed off. Like, it's not really a big deal, move on with your life kind of thing, which is unfortunate.
It is unfortunate, and for a lot of people it's not painful. A lot of people it is painful, and that's where it starts to cause more trouble. So the rule of thumb is if you hit 5 degrees on either side, it's recommended that you go see a scoliosis specific physiotherapist, that they can help out with some exercise, non-invasive treatment, maybe one of these braces like you see the examples on the table. So early diagnosis, super important. Early action, super important. Now if it goes up to 7 or beyond, that's when it's really recommended go see a doctor, get an x-ray, and that is the only way to formally get a diagnosis of scoliosis. This does not diagnose. This clues you in.
Just gives you that little indicator that there may be a need to see a doctor. Melissa, thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and where can we get your book?
My book is available at all your favorite distributors, so Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Chapters Indigo, online as well on the Google and Apple stores.
Caroline Bell, author, Tangled in the Curves, Real Life with Scoliosis.
Yes.
Scoliosis, yes. And this is so important, great important information. Thank you for coming by. Really appreciate you doing that.
Thank you so much.